All three series were racing this weekend, but we were actually at two different tracks. The NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series was racing at Lime Rock Park. That race won by Corey Heim, his fifth win of the season. Nick Sanchez winning his first race of his career in the NASCAR Xfinity Series, and then Chase Elliott breaking his long winless streak in the NASCAR Cup Series. With that win, Chase Elliott now just 2 races behind William Byron and exactly half of Kyle Larson's 8 in the top car honors at Hendrick Motorsports. You finally thought Alex Bowman was going to get one. His third place finish does not get him a top car honor, him still sitting at 0 on the season. Kyle Larson in 17th, he took some damage in that big accident, never really competitive after that. And William Byron DNFing after getting involved in that big accident. Runner-up Brad Keselowski was really cheering for him to get this win to lock himself into the playoffs. Nonetheless, he is now just 1 race behind Ryan Preece, who came home in 15th. Chris Buescher, a massive lead here, 11-4-3. He finished in 9th, so 2 of the 3 cars in the top 10, all 3 in the top 15. That's pretty good compared to some of the other teams we're going to talk about later in this video, so I think RFK is pretty happy about how this weekend went. One 2311 car survived the carnage. That was Tyler Reddick. He takes his 9th top car of the season with a top 5 run in 4th place. Bubba Wallace in 22nd. Riley Herbst down in 28th. He was looking pretty good there for a little bit. He was running up front, dicing it up with those guys. I'm sure that was awesome for him. Too bad he got himself caught up in a little accident there and wasn't able to finish where he was running. Another week with a Legacy Motor Club car inside of the top 10. Eric Jones getting a top 5 and 5th. John Nemechek 26th. Both these guys were running pretty good during this race. Jones down just 2 behind John Nemechek. 10-8 the lead for Nemechek in the top car honors at Legacy. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. very competitive, looking like he had a shot at this one. Nonetheless, he breaks his tie with Josh Berry. He is now leading the single car teams category 8-7-2-3. Cody Ware, another guy who was looking like maybe he could get on the board if something happened to Stenhouse here. He finished 13th, his best run of the season. Cole Custer in 19th. Josh Berry down in 32nd after getting caught up in that big accident. Zane Smith pulling away from the tied Todd Gilliland and Noah Gragson in the front row motorsports battle here with his 7th place run. I was cheering for him. I was cheering for Stenhouse because I know that 47 car needs a win. All the uncertainty there with that charter. Brad Keselowski. There was a lot of guys to cheer for in this one. Sucks that Zane Smith could not get it done. He was leading some laps and dicing it up at the end though, which I'm sure is very good for him. Noah Gragson, Todd Gilliland both finishing in the 20s after taking crash damage in this one. Gragson 25th, Gilliland in 27th. I'm going to have a more polished video on the in-season challenge later this week, but how about the 32nd seed Ty Dillon getting an 8th place run here. He knocked off the 1st seed Denny Hamlin, now tied up 9-9 in the top car honor here at Kaulig Racing. AJ Allmendinger with a 12th place run. Pretty good day for both of these guys, not taking a whole lot of damage and finishing higher up in the finishing order. It was pretty funny to see Hocevar a lap down, but dicing it up front in the pack trying to get his lap back. He eventually did, getting a top 10 in this one. He is now just 1 race behind Michael McDowell for the teammate lead battle here at Spire Motorsports, and he's 1 ahead of Justin Haley, so very close battle here. Haley finishing down in 23rd position, McDowell in 18th. Pretty decent day for these Spire cars, not in the 30s like some of the other teams here. It finally happened, fellas. Ty Gibbs getting his first top car honor of the season. It only took halfway through the season, race 18. And you know what? He kind of got this because all 3 Gibbs cars were caught up in that accident and DNF'd. But nonetheless, he is finally on the board here with his 14th place run. 30th for Bell, 31st for Hamlin, and then 35th for Chase Briscoe. So pretty brutal day for Joe Gibbs Racing. You kind of hope Ty Gibbs was going to be able to do something there at the end. Unfortunately, not able to get in the top 10. Just 1 position apart for the 2 RCR drivers. Austin Dillon getting a 20th place run. 1 spot behind him, Kyle Busch 21st. Dillon now just behind 2 races. Kyle Busch with a 10-8 lead at RCR in the teammate battle here. Shane Van Gisbergen getting his 3rd top car honor of the season with his 24th place run here at Trackhouse. Suarez and Chastain both caught up in that big accident. 33rd for Chastain, 34th for Suarez, but Chastain has 10 top car honors on the season, a pretty sizable lead in this one, but tough day for those 2 cars. But it gets even worse when you go over to Team Penske, the top finishing car, 36th position Joey Logano, 2 spots behind him, 38th Austin Cindric, and in 40th, Ryan Blaney. So Blaney's still up 2 races on Logano in this one here, but a weekend to forget for Team Penske, and they're always very competitive at these style of tracks. Cindric even winning a stage before getting knocked out of this one, so tough finish to the week for Team Penske. Especially after how great all 3 of these guys qualified. They were all up front, started the race up front, had control of the race for the first little bit. Tough weekend. Moving to our manufacturer table here now. Chevrolet winning the Truck Series and the Cup Series race this weekend. They are at 28 on the season. Toyota winning the truck race with Corey Heim. They're at 15 on the season. Nothing for Ford, they are still at 7, 4 of those being Cup wins. I wanted to look back at the past winners of the second Atlanta race. I should note that the 2024 race was a playoff race, but all 3 of these guys making it to the Final Four. Logano actually winning the championship last year, so Chase Elliott is in a pretty good spot here. He, of course, won this race in 2022, made the Final Four after a series-leading 5 wins. Byron with 6 wins in 2023. Something about this race and this winner, so hopefully Chase Elliott can mimic his stats from 2022 and go on a deep run into the playoffs here. 4 Unchartered cars this weekend. I actually had this wrong in my preview. The entry list had the 44 of JJ Yaley in the race, but not the number 78 of BJ McLeod. Connor Zilic 1 spot shy of a top 10 in his 3rd Cup Series race. Great result for him there. BJ also getting a 16th place run, so that's huge for Live Fast Motorsports. David Starr felt like he was getting lapped over and over again. He finished down in 29th. And Corey LaJoie, no chance to show anything for Rick Ware. 39th position after getting caught up in that first big accident. Our 3rd week in a row with a new pole sitter, Joey Logano winning the pole this weekend. Of course, Denny Hamlin doing it last weekend. And the weekend before that in Mexico, Shane Van Gisbergen. 13 pole winners through 18 races. Briscoe with a pretty commanding lead here with 4 on the season. Just like with pole winners, a few weeks in a row here with a new stage winner. Tyler Reddick winning stage 2 in this one, his first stage win on the season. 14 stage winners through 18 races. Larson and Byron kind of dominating this category though. 8 for Larson, 7 for William Byron. Austin Cindric was the other stage winner today. He joins Ryan Blaney as tied for 4th with 3 stage wins on the season. Moving to our stage points top 10, no movement within the top 5, but closing up there between Tyler Reddick, Denny Hamlin, and Kyle Larson. Chase Elliott jumping a couple of guys in this one, moving up to 106 on the season. Alex Bowman also getting a couple stage points. He's at 99. Should be noted Christopher Bell and Joey Logano are tied at 89 stage points. There is some movement in our laps led top 5 though. Joey Logano jumping Ryan Blaney after leading 40-something laps in this one here. Of course, we did not get to see how that speed showed up for the 22 as they were caught up in that big accident. Feels like Larson hasn't led a lap in a few weeks now, but he is still on top of this one, 851 on the season. Moving to the bubble battle now, and these are the 4 drivers on the left-hand side who have not won a race this year that are in the playoffs on points, so those spots are quickly diminishing, and we still have quite a few races to go before the playoffs, so a few more surprise winners, and this can get very interesting. Reddick with some great separation of the line, over 100 points. Ryan Preece, 23 behind Bubba Wallace, who's on the cut line. Good run for Bowman, kind of pulling away from this a little bit. Jones, Allmendinger, and Hocevar all pretty far back here where you're going to think there's going to have to be some bad luck for Wallace and some good runs for them. Preece still in the conversation though, so we'll see how this all shakes out, but getting some pretty big separation here towards the cut line. He wasn't the legacy car inside the top 5, but John Hernimchek getting his first Xfinity fastest lap point this season, 9th driver to do it through 18 races. Hamlin leading this category with 4 on the season. Shane Van Gisbergen beating Herbst by 4 positions. He is now up 10-8 in the Rookie of the Race category. If you're Herbst, you really need to win Daytona now to make a playoff run here and at least have a chance to beat Shane Van Gisbergen for 15th in points. We'll have to see how that all shakes up, but right now it looks pretty comfortable for SVG to win Rookie of the Year. A bunch of 3s this weekend in the biggest points movers category. Chase Elliott jumping up 3 positions from 5th to 2nd in the point standings. There were a few other drivers that moved up 3 positions in points. Stanhouse moved up 3 from 24th to 21st, and Keselowski moved up 3 from 30th to 27th. Tonight's biggest loser, Josh Berry, dropping 3 positions in points from 16th to 19th. We move on to our DNF list. Ryan Blaney joining Bubba Wallace with 6 DNFs on the season. Pretty crazy these guys have DNF'd 1 out of every 3 races this year, and both are still in playoff positions. Daniel Suarez joining Brad Keselowski with 5 DNFs on the season. Denny Hamlin also adding himself to this list with his 4th DNF on the season. Of course, he also missed the race at Mexico, so you could consider that 5, but 4 DNFs for Denny Hamlin. And last but not least, our Brock Beard last car standings. Ryan Blaney becoming the 16th driver through 18 races to add himself to this list. Pretty spread out through the field, I gotta say. Allmendinger and Riley Herbst tied for the top spot with 2 last place finishes on the season. Thanks so much for watching.